Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining our webinar today. We're going to be discussing how you can diversify your affiliate partnerships, the overall benefits of partner marketing, working with non-traditional partners, how 2020 affected the channel, and what's ahead for this year. So before we get started, we have a few housekeeping items. I wanted to mention that throughout the presentation, you can submit questions at Zoom at the bottom of the Zoom app, and we're going to be reviewing these questions at the end. Erin and I also received quite a few questions in advance, and we're going to try to answer as many as possible, given the amount of time we have left. And also, this webinar is being recorded and will be shared with attendees after the presentation. So who are we? We'll start with introductions. My name is Michelle Morgan, and I've worked in affiliate marketing for 14 years. I'm currently the Director of Publisher Development at Acceleration Partners, where I oversee a team that are responsible for supporting the growth of our clients by creating and growing relationships with key partners. And prior to AP, I was the head of sales at Savings United for the United States and the Senior Director of Publisher Development at Pepper Jam Network, where I worked really closely with Erin. And now I will turn it over to her so she can give her intro.
Thank you so much, Michelle. So it's great to meet everybody today. I'm Erin Killian. I'm the Vice President of what we call Agency and Prime at Partnerized. What does that interesting title mean? It means that my team and I oversee all of our agency relationships, some of our brand relationships, as well as the partners that exist within the Partnerized ecosystem. I, similarly to Michelle, have been in the industry for going on 14 years this year, with my history being from Pepper Jam originally, having overseen different program management, working closely with Michelle and the Acceleration Partners team in my tenure. And now I've had the good fortune to be able to work more closely with the AP team in developing, managing their portfolio, as well as looking at different partner trends that we've seen, not only impacting our brands and partners, but how that's impacted the channel as a whole.
Thanks, Erin. So Acceleration Partners, also known commonly as AP within the industry, is the premier global partner marketing agency. We manage over 150 affiliate programs for brands that span across 36 countries, and our team collectively speaks 22 languages. With our experience and our track record, we set the standard for how brands efficiently grow and refine their partnerships anywhere in the world.
So who's Partnerized? Partnerized is a global leader in technology supporting affiliate and partner marketing that allows our brands to be able to discover the right types of partners, track and oversee their campaigns in unique and strategic ways. Partnerized is a global company representing over 13 different locations, over 400 employees, and over 1,700 different brands, with a myriad of partner relationships and currencies to be able to support the strategic focuses of our brands as they look to innovate in the channel.
So, why should brands consider partner marketing? What are the benefits to partner marketing over other channels? It really comes down to efficiency and scale. Partner marketing and platforms such as Partnerize allow brands to work with any partner on a performance basis. Brands are only paying for the activities that drive results, so it's cost effective and very low risk. They can attain a better ROI and build strong relationships with their partners through this channel. Additionally, brands can tap into technologies from publisher partners who can offer various solutions to keep their consumers engaged on site, all through the affiliate channel. And we're going to get into some examples here and later on in the presentation to showcase these. An example of how brands can use partner marketing to drive results is outlined in this example from one of AP's clients, Lecole, which is a premium British cycling apparel brand. Lecole simply wanted to accelerate growth in the affiliate channel. So their AP team was tasked with creating a strategy that focused on new partner recruitment and activation and involved updating the program's product feed, which then as a result opened opportunities for them to work with CSS partners who require a product feed, recruitment of new high value and on-brand partners, and activation campaigns to re-engage lapsed partners. These efforts resulted in a 150 increase year over year in sale active partners and a 205% month over month growth of sales driven via the affiliate channel, which is now one of the brand's strongest performing marketing channels. So I think it's safe to say that everyone on this call was affected by 2020 in some capacity, good or bad. And overall, while it was a challenging year, affiliate was strong because it's a flexible and agile channel for brands. And Aaron and I are going to chat about industry trends and dive into some performance data. I would say that impacting publishers the most over the last year was program changes. Brands had to cut back on commissions, remove certain publishers, or pause their program completely. But on the positive end, there was increased interest in performance in D2C brands, meal delivery services, grocery delivery, and more as a result of people unable or not wanting to leave their homes due to COVID. And while they're stuck at home, they're thinking about renovations and buying new things. I sure did. Channels that pay on performance thrived, and companies that may not have been familiar with or paid attention so much to affiliate before were starting to pay attention. And with that, we saw online budgets such as search and display shift over to the affiliate channel because it's performance based and low risk. And with these marketing shifts, we saw quite a few publishers evolve as well, many of which started to take a more holistic approach with brands and offering placements and optimizations across the entire marketing funnel, not just affiliate. Aaron, would you like to talk about Amazon Associates and how we are seeing the markets recover?
Absolutely. So to tie into what Michelle was speaking to, and the fact that 2020 created some unique opportunities, quite frankly, for marketers, is that idea of publisher development and a shifting publisher space, quite frankly, to tie into what we're talking about today, which is diversifying your partner base. So as we saw these budgets and program shifts change, what we saw was an impact to some of the larger programs within the space and the unique partners that existed within those ecosystems. As those different programs, such as Amazon, needed to make changes in order to adapt to the evolving pandemic and other worldwide situations happening, we saw a lot of those partners looking for new and innovative ways to work with new relationships, increase their revenue streams, and to take on and tackle more opportunity. As we dive into some of the data, what you guys are going to see is that the influx in those partners to the platform within Partnerized's universe really helped to expand the opportunities, the partner base, and diversify in a more content and social capacity than we've seen historically. Those partners started to create a new and innovative trend through all of 2020. But we also have seen that as we move through 2020, a lot of the different verticals, and we'll talk through some of them specifically, had different ebbs and flows. Different verticals such as sports, fitness, health, and beauty saw significant growth year over year as a result of people not leaving their homes. I know a number of people that have purchased new exercise equipment, different ways to stay healthy and to stay active. So these brands were able to build from that. While other verticals, such as travel and event planning, obviously saw a negative impact from the pandemic trends. But as we moved through 2020, we also have seen how those different verticals have trended and shifted based on different items, whether it's been the new vaccine that's been able to be brought to market, as well as how the supply side has been able to recover more effectively. A lot of the verticals were initially impacted negatively because they weren't able to support inventory concerns and they weren't able to get materials to their consumers in a timely fashion. As we got to the latter half of 2020, we saw that those verticals were starting to rebound, moving into peak season so that their performance was starting to creep back up. Even travel, who, as we all know, has really faced a unique challenge coming out of 2020, is starting to look ahead. And while the performance hasn't gotten back up yet to early 2020 and 2019 performance, we're starting to see brands looking at the channel again, planning their strategy for later this year, as we hope as e-commerce marketers to move into a new and innovative 2021 built on the backbone of what we saw in 2020. So what did we see? So from a platform perspective, we've seen a lot of great trends that I'll just toss it out there, that if anybody's interested, let me know post the call and we can share some additional insight. But one of the biggest things we saw, and that I talked a little bit on the slide before, was about our partner activations and diversification of our entire platform portfolio as a whole. Over the past few years, we've seen that coupon and deal sites are some of the more traditional players in the space. But as we moved into 2020, especially into March and April, the types of partner applications that we saw started to shift. So around April of 2020 is when Amazon started to make some of their initial changes. As a result of that, we started to see upticks in partner applications. They were not traditional applications. What we saw is a lot more content creators, content aggregators, social media sites coming into the fold in order to work with brands in new and innovative ways. It wasn't just Amazon driving that. It was also the fact that consumers, brands, advertisers were looking for ways to optimize and create new revenue streams for themselves. No more was it that affiliate and partner marketing was outside of the norm. Now, any type of consumer, brand ambassador, could look to online as a way to help offset and increase additional cash to be able to bring home, quite frankly. So as we started moving through 2020, we kept seeing those applications continuing and to stay on trend from a strong performance year over year. The one thing you'll notice in the graph is that it's driven by content and social. So at the start of the year, it was definitely more content driven. So we saw that with a lot of review sites, content creators, that people writing about things, being able to focus and offer brands new ways to be able to promote themselves and focus on top of funnel new consumer acquisition. As we got into the later half of the year, we've still seen more of an influx and uptick from partners from the social media space. So Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitch. And as we've been able to reward these partners more, we'll talk about how that's impacted some of the other trends, such as revenue and other KPIs like new consumer growth. So Michelle, if you want to go to the next slide. So revenue. Obviously, revenue is key. And we've all been focused on how do we open up new opportunities and revenue streams with new partnerships. This is about diversifying your portfolio. And what we saw in 2020 is that as these new partners were onboarding into the technology to be able to work with brands and to be able to be rewarded in different capacities, is that we saw the revenue streams start to change. And we saw content, who had previously always been a fantastic traffic contributor, top of funnel activity, moving more to being a really strong revenue contributor. Listen, our traditional partners are always going to have a core in what we need to be able to do. But as you can see through 2020, content's presence and how brands have utilized and worked with those relationships has shifted where the revenue is also coming from. And we know that one of the things that all of us are challenged with today is how do we find more new consumers, more revenue streams, more partnerships to be able to do more. So Michelle, if you want to go, yep, thank you. So this ties back into, new consumers. So diversification is at the core of trying to find new consumers, new ways to optimize with our partners and to be able to drive new revenue. So as we talk about the importance and what drives an affiliate or a partner program, we tend to focus on revenue, but there are other strong strategic KPIs that we're looking to be able to drive towards. And one of those is in the idea of the percentage of new consumers coming through the channel, as well as the revenue that they contribute to your program holistically. So as you guys can see from the graph, we've been seeing that content is continuing to grow in strength across all of our different advertiser verticals. So as we've looked as the year has progressed, content has continually been able to take a more active part in affiliate programs. And that's coming just from the idea of being able to do more, and find new ways to be able to promote. Brands are capitalizing on these relationships and helping to focus on top of funnel activity to build more. But it also, how is this happening? Part of this is also as a result of the fact that as the channel, it's no longer just strictly last click. We're navigating towards different ways to reward partners along that journey so that we're finding different ways to ensure that different partners are being rewarded for their actions through that journey. As we as technology providers continue to evolve to give agencies like Acceleration Partners the tools to be able to do that, we're able to see this influx of revenue trends. And if Michelle, if you want to go to the next slide. Mm-hmm. This is talking about the gross revenue that we're talking about across new consumers. And this kind of speaks for itself. that as we tie back to those new consumers across the space holistically, and then tying back in specifically with content providers, you can see that they are not only driving new consumers, but those new consumers are buying. So now, as we start thinking about 2021, brands now have the opportunity to build on what they already saw for all of 2020 and to be able to take more on. And then on the next slide, what we wanted to just quickly call out are some of the key verticals that we've been seeing growth. And you'll notice content is rather prevalent across the entire landscape. So is other. So in case you're looking and you're like, ooh, Erin, what's other? That actually represents a combination of technology partners that have been coming into this space, don't quite fall into some of the main categories that are starting to disrupt in the industry. But what I wanted to call out is that these are some of our key vertical drivers, content and apparel, health and beauty, food and drink that Michelle spoke to, as well as sports and fitness. And the one thing to call out is that while we're seeing a lot of great success from all of the verticals, content has been a key driver as people have been focusing more on that. Having been in this space for over a decade, I can tell you when I started in 2009, content wasn't a conversation that we've been having. But as we've gravitated more into the future and where we're going to go, content diversification, new partners is paramount for us to be able to get to the next level.
What is that term, Erin? Content is key. I think that, or king.
Yes.
Key. I guess it's key and king, but really, when I think back over the last year and how my team is supporting new client launches and existing clients, the request that we had for more information and recruitment of content sites was higher than ever before. I mean, I think content's, especially over recent years, been such a big part and of interest of a brand's affiliate program, but over the last year, it really blew up on our side too. Okay, so now we're going to walk through some examples of these non-traditional partners and success stories. But we first wanted to give some examples of publishers who are considered to be traditional in that they have been part of the affiliate channel for some time. These partners are instrumental in the success of a program if the brand wants to scale and grow. And also, it's important to note that many of these publishers have evolved and offer various opportunities for brands and don't really fit into just one business model or one promotional method. Some examples are loyalty partners who can now offer card-linked offer technology, coupon and deal sites that have more content and have added blogs and more of that for consumers. Coupon and voucher companies who create white label offer solutions for large media houses and more. So it's really important to communicate with partners about the goals of your brand because chances are these partners have solutions to get you there. Erin, do you want to start with some of our non-traditional?
Absolutely. So non-traditional, what does that mean? So non-traditional is any type of new representation, any new partner that wants to be able to promote within a brand. Truthfully, I've seen lots of individual people that have signed on to be more non-traditional, but some of the things that we've really seen some key examples are with brand ambassadors, with retail partners and wholesale partners, as well as education. So what does that mean? Many brands have a consumer base and have unique partnership relationships that fall outside of the traditional affiliate or partner marketing channel. And what affiliate and partner marketing allows them to do is to more holistically bring them into their current programs to be able to optimize and build relationships in a more strategic capacity so that you get to take those existing consumers and different relationships that may all fall outside of an acquisition type of channel to be able to build from. And as we walk through, we have a few examples, both from the AP side of the table as well as the partnerized side of the table that we can talk through. We've also seen that a lot of our brands and some of our brands specifically within Partnerized took a unique approach from a non-traditional approach. And they actually looked to partner with some of their wholesale partners so that for those brands that were more retail focused, they looked to their wholesale partners to convert them into partner marketing relationships so that they worked to educate them, guide them on what the process was and how they could reopen those revenue streams. That's something we know that if you had a retail presence coming out of 2020, you needed to be able to find a holistic way to up that revenue opportunity. And so we saw a lot of unique opportunities where people taking existing relationships from their world and building them back into the affiliate channel in a different capacity. We've also seen education take the same approach. We have a number of educational brands who have struggled with the advent of not going back into a school, how to be able to communicate with the end consumers, how to be able to support those end consumers as well as the educators in a way to partner goods, be able to package them in an effective way and to reach them. And so we've actually seen the advent of more educational different sub platforms, educational relationships within the Partnerized universe that allow different brands coming out of education to be able to reach PTAs, be able to reach individual teachers and schools. And they've created unique opportunities to package goods to put in front of them. So, with that, what we've tried to do is to focus and hone in on that. Something else we're seeing, and I know Michelle will kind of talk about this a little bit later when we talk about challenges, is also been the intersection between PR and traditional affiliate. And what does that mean? So as we've seen more partners coming into the landscape to be able to work with, PR and affiliate are intersecting. We're about performance marketing. We're about trying to find the best way to deliver against ROI, how to be able to deliver something that makes sense while driving new consumers and revenue. And so what we're seeing is that PR and more of the traditional digital teams are unifying in order to bring those partnerships together to effectively align on budgets and to help bring those relationships into a more traditional type of setting to better manage, optimize, and track back to understand results.
And then beyond that, and looking at some tech partners, there are so many capabilities, and just a few off the top of my head that we can mention are those that can do personalized offers and product recommendations for consumers that are on-site shopping. There are also partners that offer conversion and abandonment solutions, those that can source user-generated content from a brand's social channels. And these are brand advocates, like Erin was talking a bit about influencers and brand ambassadors. You can actually take that content and turn it into curated galleries on your website and more. Beyond that, and looking at print, you could work with partners that have mailers that are delivered to demographically targeted households. You can get very, very specific and granular. If you are, for example, a brand that sells pet food, you can have your pet food insert delivered to people who have pets. It's very, very specific and very demographically focused. There's also those customized inserts that consumers can see when you're opening up packages from a brand. You could be opening up a delivery from brand A and have an insert from brand B that's could potentially be relevant to you. And then an emergence that we saw that I know Erin and I have talked about a bit on the Partnerized side and also with AP overall are more podcasters. So there's really been an emergence of them, I would say, over the last year or so within the affiliate channel, but we've seen more and more podcast networks and platforms and even direct podcasts working on a performance basis. Brand to brand is a part of this as well. And I would say it's a relatively new concept in our channel. And if you're not familiar, it's basically a collaboration between two non-competing brands who have common goals, common audiences, or products and services that align with each other. These partnerships are often those that an advertiser's traditional biz dev department might not be interested in because they may be considered too small of an opportunity or they're just not interested. But instead of brands just writing these opportunities off, they could actually be facilitated and managed through their affiliate team, through their affiliate program on a performance basis. So running these campaigns through the affiliate channel, which can simply be done by having each advertiser sign up as a publisher in each other's programs, even just for tracking purposes, allows for advertisers to grow revenue at scale while tracking and measuring the success of each campaign on a pay for performance basis. So if you're looking for some just examples on how this can be executed, there could be content, social media, and email swaps. And we've often found too that brands are not necessarily paying each other for these efforts. It's really just the swaps, and it's all about, engagement and getting into that other audience. So there could be an element of payment or you could pay them a commission, but it's really just really growing brand engagement and getting additional consumers. You can also cross promote your publisher bases. So there have been times where there's advertiser A and advertiser B, and they can send each other, send their publisher bases information about the other program and encourage their publisher base to sign up for the other. You can offer incentives at checkout. So, as a consumer, when I'm checking out at advertiser B, at the very end of the transaction, after my credit card is submitted, I'll get a coupon code or a free product offer from advertiser B. And you can also do package inserts. I mentioned that previously. We've seen that a bit. I'm sure all of you are familiar. When you get a package from various brands online, you'll often get inserts and coupons and incentives from other brands as well. And then I'll let Erin speak to a couple of specific examples that have been successful from her end.
Yep, absolutely. So something that from the Partnerized side that our teams have been actively working on through 2020 and even into 2021 have been able to better cross promote each other. So we've been having a number of brands within Pepper Jam that have been working to collaborate to better utilize each other's social media. So one of the brands, is looking to be able to and has been focusing on taking their current online blog content, which has an immense social following, and utilizing that in order to promote and talk about complementary brands. The brand specifically was not looking to be able to promote people within the same vertical, but actually brands that were a little bit more, not necessarily just complementary, but a little bit different outside of the box in order to collaborate and find larger scale opportunities. So the first step in their relationship and the collaboration has been able to create unique content on their own social following to promote in regards to the partnership. And on the flip side, the other brand is working to be able to use a lot of what Michelle is talking about with the package inserts to be able to cross promote each other. What we've seen with all of this is Michelle has spoken to it exactly. None of this has been paid marketing in any type of capacity. It has been more about building better brand awareness for each other. Some of the other things our teams have been working to leverage and build upon have been confirmation email cross promotion, as well as generalized dedicated email to both different consumer sets in order to tell more of a narrative. So what we're seeing in a lot of the partner marketing is not just necessarily a promotion of an offer or a deal, but it's actually about telling the story about who the other brand is that they're looking to be able to promote, how that fits into their ecosystem in order to have that larger exchange.
So, in looking at challenges, of which I know some of us have many, and they vary and run the gamut, but the ones I really wanted to talk about were a one size fits all and not taking that approach. There really isn't a one size fits all approach for brands or for publishers because no two are exactly the same. And it's really in the brand's best interest to have a healthy mix of the traditional publishers we talked about earlier and non traditional partners. And I really can't stress enough the importance of communicating with partners so they understand your KPIs. And also try not to just say no right off the bat. If you're unsure about working with a certain publisher or a specific vertical, don't be hesitant, communicate with them, run tests to gauge performance, etc. And remember, there's really little risk because you're paying on performance. So don't be afraid to think outside the box.
But also remember that this is about education and buy-in and the internal politics. As we look to diversify and work with existing partners in new capacities, as well as identifying these new different types of partners to expand into, whether it's content, social, technology, you still have to have buy-in from the internal teams. One of the biggest hurdles that affiliate has always faced is better educating and highlighting its value. So making sure that you're talking to the right key decision makers, that you have your partners on board to help tell that story on your behalf, as well as understanding the internal politics and silos that may exist within businesses. One of the unique ways that we talked about how people are working outside of the box is that intersection point between PR and affiliate. It's something that spanning both partners and agencies that I see a great deal of today. But one of the things that we see is in many cases, while those budgets are starting to come more holistically together, at times they can be disparate. And how do you understand how those items are working together to be able to bring those new relationships to the table, talk about what the incremental revenue, what the incremental lift can be from that opportunity, and ultimately be able to put something more strategically and detailed in place to be able to act against.
Now we'll talk about the good stuff, success stories. So in this example, one of AP's clients who has a global B2B a B2B focused partner program was looking to attract small and medium-sized businesses restaurants specifically, excuse me, and motivate them to become partners in their program. The brand's internal biz dev team had established partnerships already with large restaurant groups and enterprises, but customer feedback indicated to the brand that they lacked small and medium businesses within their consumer app. Because most of these SMB restaurant deals were deemed too small for their biz dev team, even going back to what we were just saying before about brand to brand specifically, the client brought the opportunity to AP to strategize on. So AP worked closely with Valpak to become a publisher within the brand's affiliate program and used their direct mail business model and targeting capabilities, again, talked about that previously before too, to run a test campaign. So we ran an A/B creative test, which was sent to 50,000 restaurants that were hand selected by the client. And both the CPL and the CPA goals were surpassed, and we saw a 45% conversion rate. As a result, the brand has been running additional campaigns with Valpak, and now Valpak is working with additional clients across the AP portfolio.
So on the partnerized side, we actually only put one example in, but I'm actually going to speak to a few, which is a surprise to Michelle. So the first one we really want to call out was Charlotte Tilbury. So what the brand was looking to do was to be able to take what they were considering their makeup all-stars, current brand ambassadors, to be able to help them better work within their traditional partner program and to help focus on driving a new type of higher end consumer to the brand direct. So how do you do that? So what the team did is that the brand came back to work with the Partnerized team in order to create a campaign of education and insight to be able to focus on these partners, to identify who they were, let them know how they can utilize the technology in order to be rewarded, and then work to optimize and find opportunities to be able to promote the brand out to a different type of consumer side. At the end of the day, what happened? The brand has seen tremendous success. So not only have the makeup ambassadors and their all-stars been highly appreciative of the program as an additional way to be able to earn and talk to consumers, but also the brand has been able to reduce the overall CPA costs associated with bringing those consumers to the brand. And the program now accounts for over 13% of their partner marketing program. So they've been able to take these brand ambassadors that we talked about as more non-traditional relationships and convert them into something to drive revenue from a traditional CPA performance type of basis. And Charlotte Tilbury is not the only one. We actually have a number of other ones that we can call out with Sakara Life and Burrow, both of whom we're looking to really focus on driving and diversifying their portfolios, trying to hone in on very niche types of relationships. And within both of those separate programs, they were able to drive significant revenue, new client growth, and be able to grow strong affiliate programs within the space. So we have a number of different examples. And I know Michelle and I just called out a few today to share with you, but it really is highlighting that affiliate programs, partner programs have taken on a new and different edge in order to reach consumers in a new and different capacity.
Love those examples, Erin. So if we took out our crystal ball, here's what we predict. So for me, I see more shopping via curbside and buy online, pick up in store. Some publishers actually have dedicated sections of their website to list advertisers who do this and are also willing to promote it on a brand store page. So something to think about if you are a brand who has brick and mortar presence. And advertisers can actually run campaigns with publishers to incentivize this activity as well. For example, they can offer a bonus to loyalty partners on top of the commission that they'll earn for the transaction, and the publisher can pass that additional bonus on to their users if they select curbside or buy online pickup in store instead of shipping. And then brand to brand, we already mentioned that at length, but I think there was quite a buzz around these types of partnerships back at the beginning of 2020, but unfortunately COVID put a wrench into things and advertisers had to shift what they were focused on, but there's still interest, and I anticipate this will pick up over the coming months and into the rest of the year.
And I think what we're going to continue to see is that 2020 highlighted the flexibility, the easy ability to pivot within an online channel through traditional affiliate marketing. And as we move into 2021, as brands have been able to optimize those budgets more effectively, pay on a performance basis, what you're going to continually see are more shifts and more opportunities to build the channel. There's going to be more eyes, more insight, more strategic vision, I think, dedicated within affiliate in order to grow it in new and innovative ways. And building into that, you're going to see those continual marketing shifts and budgets moving into more of a performance-based media opportunity. As costs are rising through the other media channels and as different technology challenges are facing them, I think we're going to continue to see that affiliate takes a different seat at the table than it previously has. So you guys are probably like, so one, you're going to see a QR code on this. We'd love for you guys to take a moment to click through it. What you're going to find on the other end of that QR code is an ebook that discusses diversifying your portfolio in more detail, how to be able to support that. And then obviously you've got Michelle and her team as well to help answer any questions about that. So, definitely would love you guys to have the opportunity to kind of click through that, learn a little bit more. And as always, Michelle and I are here to answer any specific questions about that.
Thanks, Erin. I'll give it a few seconds so people have a chance to grab that. And then that will lead us into questions. So let me stop sharing there briefly. And so let's start, Erin, with some of the questions that we got in advance. So for everyone on the line, we did get a ton of questions and we tried to put some of them together into themes. And the first one, Erin, I think we talked about was best practices for engaging with partners. How can we communicate with them and incentivize them and motivate them to act?
So that's a great question. So thank you in advance for whomever did submit that. So from a best practice perspective, it really is about communication, automation, and scale. And the one thing I wanted to call out is when you're working with these partners and optimizing with them, you want to be able to have mechanisms in place to do this efficiently. So, through our own technology, we have the ability for you guys to set up communications, to be able to reach out to partners. Who are you? How do you want to work with them? How can you reward them? And in addition to that, how can you pay them in different capacities outside of some of our traditional last click mechanisms? Some of the questions, and we'll get to them, tie back to how do you track some of those mailers? How do you reward those partners? And there are different technology capabilities to be able to reward those relationships, whether with coupon codes, different voucher codes, being able to reward based on position in a click path. There are a number of different mechanisms from a best practice area that you can utilize technology to help better effectively override. So utilizing that technology to communicate, to set up your payment mechanisms in a way that you can continually reward them. And then obviously for those of you that may be working with an AP, to leverage your teams to help build on that, to make sure that you have your automated elements, your ways to reward, but also that personalized connection.
Yeah, that's my advice. I mean, treat them, they are a partner, so treat them like a partner. This is, very much a relationship-based business. And I talked a lot earlier about communication. Pick up the phone. Sometimes conversations and specific topics or issues can be resolved in a matter of 5 minutes as opposed to, a 15 email chain. So just think about it as a two-sided partnership, communicate, and also think about, what's in it for the publisher, what incentivizes them, what is their why, and how can you connect the dots there? Let's see. Another question was specific to the most exciting area of growth for m-commerce. So Erin, I could take this one. I would say over the last year in particular, at AP, we saw growth with mobile publishers substantially. Primarily, I shouldn't say primarily, but quite a bit of that, I'll say, was from publishers who have apps that offer consumers different payment options, such as like buy now, pay later, or pay over time. And I know that there are some brands that are probably integrated with those platforms directly, but this is a separate experience. So even if a brand is somehow partnered with them on the direct payment side, these companies also have publisher apps and they have consumers that are shopping through them. So I think this is seeing the increase of that was likely the effect of people's finances changing over the last year as a result of COVID, and also consumers spending so much time at home and just looking at all of their stuff and wanting to buy more. Like I'm one of those consumers. Also beyond that, I think the younger generation is turning away from more traditional banking and credit cards and moving to the digital finance options, which are often more flexible and more mobile savvy, which is how those consumers are as well. Aaron, did you have another question or do you want me to take a look at the ones that just came in?
So we've actually had some really great questions that have come in today. I know some of them are specific, while others have a little bit more of a broader context. So I know that we saw some questions coming in, I think specifically defining how do we define content and what do we count as loyalty? So content is a bit of it's a large group because content is really meant to be driven out of a combination of different sites and content aggregators that focus on the written article that they're writing, they're creating content on behalf of a brand in order to be able to promote them in some capacity. So that's when we think of content, that's how we're layering that on. And then I know that we also had the question of what's loyalty. So loyalty, from a lot of what Michelle and I have been speaking to today, is really about that idea of a cashback element, that the consumer is has the ability when purchasing to earn a percentage of that transaction back for themselves. So when we're thinking of loyalty, we think of loyalty from more of that cashback perspective, because we do know that there are other partners within the space that do incentivize in other capacities. But when we look at loyalty as that larger grouping, we're thinking of it as that primary cashback element.
Yeah, and I think if we're looking at beyond cashback, if you're not from, if someone on the phone is not familiar with loyalty at all, or what other types of things can be given back, we have charity and publishers, giving back publishers that we work with. So instead of giving cash back to consumers, they're allowing them to take a portion of their purchase and donate that to a charity of their choice, or a nonprofit, or a PTA, different organizations. That's also an option. And we've also seen over the last year, especially with everything that's happened with COVID and just many things throughout the world, different causes. We have some partners too that allow brands to tap into the user base of these charities and these organizations. So you can actually send a brand can send a customized email or an offer to a select organization or nonprofit through these publisher partners. So there's a lot of opportunity there. And I think beyond the cashback and charity and giving back, there's also points that can be used to add up to different prizes and future cashback and gift cards, and also Bitcoin. That's also an area that we've seen have an increase in terms of the getting Bitcoin instead of specific cashback. Let's see.
So we also saw some questions in here on Charlotte Tilbury's case study. Some of it, I know that I can, if the person would like to reach out to me, but the brand was paying their partners in exchange for these opportunities. So they were earning a commission in exchange for being able to promote them. And how did they find those advocates? We have a discovery technology to be able to go out and find partners, to be able to bring them into a program based on specific parameters that are most important to a brand. In addition to that, Charlotte Tilbury had their own type of partner resource pool that they were pulling from to be able to move them into a more holistic program, to be able to visualize and see the revenue on an ongoing basis, to be able to optimize more efficiently, and to be able to manage from there. And how were they reaching out? So obviously we have mechanisms internally to support more automated communication, but in a lot of what was happening was more of that personal outreach with some of those partners. Better let them know what was happening, how and when, and then facilitating that either through email or even more personalized comms. That was accomplished with both the brand and the Partnerized team to help drive against that overarching success.
We also have some other questions in here too about how there's been a lot of growth with content, loyalty, and coupon, and some questions about other partner types that have been the most relevant or fastest growing today. Thank you for that question. I would say beyond those that we mentioned, mass media has been growing substantially, and we've also seen some new mass media partners, at least on the AP side, that we're not traditionally running through affiliate or may have previously been working through a sub affiliate network and are now working directly with us, which I think allows for some additional closer optimization and relationships for the brands. That's been growing really quickly. And then tech as well. I know we talked about tech a bit in here, but
Yes.
there's so many ways that brands can interact with their consumers using these tech partners through the affiliate channel. And we've seen substantial growth within that vertical as well. And also some partners that are, I guess, coming out of the woodwork that we really define as new to affiliate just because they weren't typically part of the affiliate channel before. And these are partners that we work to just, turn into publishers. Like even as an example, we mentioned someone like Valpak and how they're able to send mailers and track the activity for brands and the consumers through that mailer. We've internally been also working with some brands that focus on schools and school folder inserts for children. Now I know it's not always as relevant right now because many children are actually going to school at home, but that's just another example. So some of these brands that have been looking at partners that are just really approaching the affiliate channel and haven't before because they're looking for more revenue streams. We've seen quite an increase there too.
Yep, and some to Michelle's point, I know some of the questions have been how to be able to track that effectively, especially with, anything that could be, tied into more of a code-based technology. The one nice thing is the ability to track at the voucher or code level so that you can better reward those partners as a part of their journey. We know that one of the biggest challenges with working with innovative and new relationships is that how to ensure their reward. So one of the key elements that we've used as a driver with those has been able to track back at that type of capacity so that way you can better visualize the results. And then to Michelle's point, it's easy to be able to convert, quite frankly, any type of person into a partner. There really are no limitations. And we've seen the same type of growth that Michelle has seen with those different verticals, with one of the key ones being technology. And then we're starting to see that, different content in different specific verticals, whether it's travel, an area of focus for us for this year that we're looking to kind of grow into is continuing to focus on finance as we're seeing more innovators within the financial space. So we're seeing a lot of, new and different partners that we'll be able to document on our journey this year for you guys.
Great. Yeah. And I know Aaron mentioned tracking and using, like a coupon code as an example to track activity. And one of the questions that we had in here too is related to difficulties with working with podcasters, since because of the tracking capabilities. And I don't think we have any specific success stories that we're able to mention from a case study brand's perspective. But my advice would be to use a code if possible for the tracking. And the code can be if you have those capabilities on your side, not just for a percentage off or a dollar off and some sort of an offer, but it could be a free product or a trial or something within that capacity to track it. And I know Aaron may be able to speak a little bit more to the Partnerized side, but you can also work with your respective platform or your affiliate network that you're working with to work with that publisher to track that activity.
No, and obviously within Partnerize, we're always happy to connect our different brands with our partners to find innovative solutions. So we're really about helping to make our partnerships stronger. So obviously we have a myriad of ways to be able to track, including when we spoke to code, but we are also helpful, able to help support not only you, but your agency, such as AP, to help make those connections, troubleshoot any other ideas, and really start thinking outside of the box on your behalf to help continue to grow that relationship.
Yes. And one other question, I think there are two that sort of tie into together. One was related to business and also how some of these ideas could map to the financial services industry because they deal with more regulations than some of the other traditional brands in the marketing space. And yeah, it's tricky. I think that from a just as a brand to brand example, I know it may not be exactly tied into what you're asking specifically, but related. One brand to brand example that I'm also familiar with is a tax preparation financial company that partnered with a like a side hustle business and worked with together with those two groups so that the side hustle business was able to get their taxes prepared in a way through this the tax preparation company online. And that was slightly different too, because it was, I know it's not exactly like a credit card, like I mentioned in the financial space, but there are opportunities there. It's just finding the right partner and making sure that you have the right goals and that you're communicating with them about what the ins and outs are of the program, what's allowed and what's not allowed. But I do think that there's ways to make it work. It's just about communication and making sure that you have the right partners.
No, I agree to that, Michelle. We've seen the same thing, whether it's within finance or even other industries where compliance is incredibly strict. Is that, normally with the help of an agency or whomever is on your team is really setting those parameters, outlining those processes, whether within the platform itself or external, and then navigating and just making sure that that's very clear upfront. So it is something that brands have been able to see through. There's just a little bit more prep work and more detail in some of that communication to help remove some of those immediate barriers.
And I think we also have a question about how you can stay informed about partner types in the industry and news in the industry and how you can find new partners. I mean, Erin, I can let you speak to the partnerized side.
So one of the ways you guys can obviously stay in touch with learning more is that we do partner and publish a weekly sales index right now that documents how our verticals have been performing, how our partners are continuing to come to our platform, where we're seeing growth within the entire space. So you guys have the ability to access that. We can send that out to anyone who would like to see that link post this event, as well as checking in just with our overall marketing materials, such as the ebook to help you guys stay informed in our blog. And of course, I'm going to throw it back to having an agency like Acceleration Partners to be able to share that detail and that insight.
Yes, that's exactly what my team is responsible for within our organization. But thanks, Erin. And I think just beyond that, like to Erin's point about, using even the Partnerized platform, whatever platform or network you're on, you should be able to find new partners within that platform. They should be, listing out new partners and showing you who's performing and who you should be taking a look at within your respective platform. And beyond that, there's other resources within the industry that you can use to read about trends and find new partners, like Performance In, for example. Martech Record is another one. So there are some industry related readings that you can look into and resources that could be beneficial as well. Are there any other questions that we could answer today?
You guys have had great questions today, so thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. And I know that there were some points of feedback too that we'll take back with our team about additional topics for the future. So thank you for that as well. And we will be sharing this presentation with you. If you have any questions about Partnerized, Acceleration Partners, management services platforms, brand to brand, et cetera, please reach out to one or both of us and we're happy to help. And thanks everyone for your time today. Thanks, Erin.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everyone.